स्टूडेंट, क्या आप मेरी आवाज सुन सकते हैं और शेयर्ड स्क्रीन देख सकते हैं? अगर आप ऐसा कर सकते हैं तो प्लीज चैट के ऊपर जवाब दें। जी स्टूडेंट्स, आर यू देयर? प्लीज रिस्पॉन्ड ऑन चैट। थैंक यू बेटे, थैंक यू बेटे, थैंक यू, थैंक यू, थैंक यू। सो ये वाली स्लाइड मैंने जो आपसे डिस्कस की, अब हम इसके बाद नेक्स्ट अपनी स्लाइड डिस्कस करते हैं दो तीन, और उसके बाद फिर हम यहाँ पे क्लास ब्रेक करेंगे। ठीक है, उम्मीद है कि आप लोगों की समझ में आ रहा होगा। Now, relationship between hemoglobin and oxygen partial pressure, very important part, because the partial pressure of the oxygen is the driving force through which the hemoglobin binds and unbinds oxygen. Where the oxygen partial pressure will be more, it binds it. Where it will be less, it release it. And also, it have got more connection with the pH of that area. More more the proton, more will be the acidity, more leaving of hemoglobin with the oxygen. यानी अगर कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड ज्यादा होगी, एसिडिटी ज्यादा होगी, तो डिसोसिएशन ज्यादा होगी. एंड इफ देर इज डिक्रीज कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड, डिक्रीज एसिडिटी एंड इंक्रीज पार्शियल प्रेशर ऑफ द ऑक्सीजन, association zyada hogi, formation of oxyhemoglobin will be more. So it means that in pulmonary capillaries the association of the hemoglobin with the oxygen will be more, and in systemic capillaries the dissociation of the hemoglobin with the oxygen will be more. So here we see higher the PO2, more oxygen combined with the hemoglobin, as we have said that it is going to occur in the pulmonary vessel. When fully saturated, completely converted to oxyhemoglobin. All the hemoglobin when saturated, it is known as a fully saturation. See, in the recent times, you can see the coronavirus, and you can see the flu virus, and you can see the asthmatic persons. So oximetry is a thing, to check that how much oxygen saturation is there. So oximetry is being done, and that is there's a very small and portable instrument that detect the concentration, the percentage of the oxygen in the system, in the capillaries. So if it is equal to 100 or 80 or 100 or 98 or 95, it is okay. But if it drops down to the 60 or 70, it is very alarming. Okay, so in fully saturation, 100% of the hemoglobin must have the oxygen and convert into oxyhemoglobin form. The percent saturation expresses average saturation of the hemoglobin with the oxygen. So it means the 98% shows that 98% of the hemoglobin binds with the oxygen. Then the oxygen hemoglobin dissociation curve is very important. We will discuss that in the next class, inshallah. That in pulmonary capillaries, oxygen loads the hemoglobin, and in tissues oxygen is being left and unloaded. Okay, but remember, we have told you earlier that the although the partial pressure in the systemic capillaries and the pulmonary capillaries are different. The pulmonary capillaries after oxygenation, the partial pressure is 105 and 100, and in systemic capillaries initially it is 100 till it has been taken up by the tissues, and ultimately in the venules and veins the partial pressure of the oxygen is only 40 millimeter of mercury. But as far as the percentage of the oxygen or quantity of the oxygen is being there is concerned, 100% is present in the when the oxygen is full, and in the venous blood, in deoxygenated, so called deoxygenated blood, it is 75%. So it means that in deoxygenated blood there is insufficient amount of the oxygen is there, but it requires reoxygenation. So 25% of that reoxygenation occurs in the pulmonary vessels. The 75% may still in the deoxygenated blood, and it is known as the reserve. Okay, so this is the oxygen hemoglobin dissociation curve. Okay, and we'll explain that inshallah in the next. मैं यहाँ थोड़ा सा आपको बता देता हूँ कि see, you can see that we have three markers over here, 1, 2 and 3. Here we have increasing partial pressure of the oxygen. Here we have the 100 millimeter of mercury, here we have the 40 millimeter of mercury, and here we have 20 millimeter of mercury. And here is the percent saturation of the hemoglobin. See, at 40 millimeter of mercury, the percent saturation is 75%. At 100 millimeter of mercury, the percent saturation is 100%. And if it is 20 millimeter of mercury, the percent saturation is only 35%. That you will see in the contracting skeletal muscles with the deoxygenated blood. Contracting skeletal muscle supplied with deoxygenated blood, the percent saturation of the hemoglobin is only 35%, and the partial pressure of the oxygen over there is only 20%. Whereas in the deoxygenated blood in the systemic veins at rest, 40 millimeter of mercury was the pressure, partial pressure of oxygen, and 75% is the percent saturation. Whereas in the systemic arteries oxygenated blood, 100 millimeter of mercury was the partial pressure of the oxygen, and also the percent saturation is equal, nearly equal to the 100. Okay, student, that's all for today. Now I'm open for the question. If you want to ask any question, you can write down on chat and I will try to answer it, inshallah. Also, do told me that tell me that whether you have understood the lecture or not. लेक्चर आपकी समझ में आया, चीजें आपको क्लियर हुई या नहीं, ये भी आप चैट पे बता दें। और कोई सवाल करना है तो वो भी आप चैट के ऊपर कर लें। यू हैव 5 minutes फॉर दैट। स्टूडेंट्स, आर यू लिसनिंग मी? समझ में आया? ओके बेटे, रिस्पॉन्ड आप कर रहे हैं। और साथ साथ ये भी बता दें, कोई सवाल अगर है, कोई सवाल करना चाहते हैं तो प्लीज। अच्छा, दानिया शौकत पूछ रही हैं कि प्लीज टेल अबाउट हाइपोक्सिया and hypercapnia. Hypoxia is a condition in the tissues where decreased oxygen is there. So first there is ischemia, blood की circulation कम हुई, then there is sometimes a hypoxemia, decreased concentration of oxygen in the blood, and it is followed by hypoxia. tissues में जब oxygen blood में कम होगी, tissues में भी कम हो जाएगी. On the other hand, hypercapnia is a condition in which a carbon dioxide concentration is increased inside the body, inside the blood. So when the hypercapnia is there, it is being followed by hyperventilation. Carbon dioxide quantity ज़्यादा हो जाती है, उसको निकालने के लिए it goes, the body shifted the balance toward the side, increase rate of respiration, and to excrete more and more carbon dioxide and get rid of that respiratory acidosis problem. अच्छा, Habiba, you पूछती हैं how much is the utilization of the oxygen increases during exercise? See, in the exercise there is hyperventilation is there, more oxygen taken in, more oxygen taken out, amount वैसे ही रहता है, जितनी ऑक्सीजन यूज्ड अप होती है उतनी ऑक्सीजन जो है वो ले ली जाती है फ्रॉम द एटमॉस्फेयर। तो वही 75 to 100, 100 to 75 का नॉर्मली बैलेंस रहता है। गॉट द पॉइंट हबीबा? एनी अदर क्वेश्चन प्लीज? I need foreigner to ask if there is any foreigner around. Cystic fibrosis, beta, is a genetic disorder, genetic disease, and is characterized by labored breathing and increased fibrosis of the pulmonary walls of the alveolar wall, and decrease surfactant concentration and increase surface tension. So labored breathing and associated disorders, lung dysfunctioning is occurring. अच्छा, फहद पूछते हैं व्हाट इफेक्ट ऑन द लंग्स when we inhale toxic substances like nitrogen or sulfur? Very important, very good question. And इसी हवाले से मैं एक चीज और आपको भी ऐड कर दूं, कार्बन मोनोऑक्साइड इज अ वेरी टॉक्सिक गैस that is produced when there is combustion, incomplete combustion, जो carbon monoxide gas is there. Carbon monoxide got 200 times more affinity for hemoglobin, and it binds 200 times more strongly with covalent bonds with the hemoglobin. So what happened if there is a fire incident? The person is there do not die because of the burning, actual burning, die because of suffocation. because the carbon monoxide present there, it binds tightly with their hemoglobin, so leaves no space for the oxygen to get in, and the resultant will be suffocation. Although the oxygen was present in the environment, because the burning doesn't happen without the oxygen, but there is no free hemoglobin, it is being tightly bound with the carbon monoxide, so result in the suffocation and ultimately death. Okay, and there is as the Fahad Shahani is going to ask, a nitrogen oxide. So nitrogen oxide or sulfur dioxide, they doesn't have their use in our body. So when they got into the body, nitrogen is not going to do something anything, but that oxygen part is goes for the oxidation, and that oxidation will result in the formation of the superoxide and peroxide formation. As far as the sulfur dioxide is again a very toxic gas present in the smoke of the automobiles, vehicles, and then enters into the body, create the physical destruction of the alveolar walls and the alveolar cells, resulting in inflammation, suffocation, decrease surfactant quantities, breathing disorders, and inflammatory conditions. So these are very toxic gases, and upon repeated exposure, they can cause disease like emphysema, chronic bronchitis, and COPD. Anything else? Decompression sickness is actually the entry of the nitrogen in the blood in the body with the increasing atmospheric pressure in the sea. So the divers and those divers, deep sea divers, experience that, and that is related with the CNS effects as well, confusion and headaches and severe convulsions, fits, etc. Okay, that's all for today, bete. I'm ending the class right now. Inshallah, we'll join you in the next class shortly.